It didn't take long for government to prove that they are authoritarian monsters in the case of the first Seastead, and they did it with a vengeance. Get all of the details here. What's in the news with stories on Bad Boys ×2, mercy killing legal, debt spending, Bill Weld, and cryptocurrency taxation news. And an Ask Me Anything segment where I answer your questions on libertarian superheroes, how I invest my money, paying more for tax-free products, crypto usage in New Hampshire, and Bill Weld. This episode is brought to you by Health Excellence Plus, a health share that has saved my family thousands of dollars and can save you money too. Also brought to you by ForkFest, the third annual decentralized libertarian camping event that happens right before PorcFest, with no tickets and no one in charge.
Welcome to The Lava Flow, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Find us at thelavaflow.com. Here's your host, Roger Paxton.
Thank you for joining me this week. From the state that is ranked number 1 in the nation for return on taxpayer investment, according to WalletHub, this is the show that will bring you the people, places, and events that everyone in the Liberty Rebellion needs to know. You can catch me on Twitter at @TheLavaFlowPod. This is episode 128, First Seastead Sunk. And it's Wednesday, April 24th, 2019, when there have already been more than 270 people killed by police this year, and the United States debt clock shows us at more than $22,227,100,000,000 in debt. What's wrestling my jimmies this week? You're about to find out. Let's do it to it. Holy shit, guys. It did not take long for government to prove that they are authoritarian monsters in the case of the first Seastead. And they did it with a vengeance, saying they're going to destroy the Seastead and charging the two who lived on the Seastead with breaching Section 119 of Thailand's criminal code. That section of code concerns any acts that cause the country or parts of it to fall under the sovereignty of a foreign state or deterioration of the state's independence. It is punishable by death or life imprisonment. Chad Owartowski, one of the Seastead's 2 former inhabitants, writes in a Facebook post, "This is ridiculous. We lived on a floating houseboat for a few weeks, and now Thailand wants us killed." The wants us killed part likely refers to that potential punishment for violating Section 119. He added, "We had to go underground because our contract warned us before this came out." He also insists that he and his Thai companion Nadia Summergirl were merely tenants of the Seastead, and were not responsible for designing or building or placing it directly. His post also said, "We were hoping to bring tourism to Phuket with an underwater restaurant, floating hotels and medical research, tech jobs, etc. We had 3 wealthy entrepreneurs in the past week tell us they were coming to live in Phuket because they were excited about this project. We love Thailand. Nadia is a proud Thai. She is a proud Buddhist who does not support violence. I am a pacifist who would not harm a fly." Elwartowski's post calls for legal help in negotiating with the Thai government regarding any possible punishment that he and Summergirl might face. He wrote, "We just wanted to be free, if just for one day. Don't we all?" Ocean Builders, the company responsible for placing the Seastead, posted on the crackdown saying that the Seastead is in the process of being demolished by the Thai Navy, and reiterates that although Chad and Nadia are safe for now, understand that Thailand is currently being run by a military dictator. There will be no trial if they are caught. They already demonstrated that by being judge, jury, and executioner of the historic very first Seastead. The Thai government apparently claims that the Seastead was a hazard to shipping lanes. Ocean Builders' response to that is, the Seastead is 6 meters wide. It has a very bright anchor beacon and has a registered AIS beacon which can be detected by any boat with any sort of navigation in the vicinity. The group further says that the Seastead was in a very heavy fishing area that had many fishing boats trawling the area there daily. The fishing boat captains used to wave at Nadia and Chad as they passed by. They were in no way bothered by the floating home. The Seastead takes up less space in the shipping lane than a fishing boat does. Patrick Friedman, the founder of the Seasteading Institute, grandson of Milton Friedman and co-author of the book Seasteading: How Floating Nations Will Restore the Environment, Enrich the Poor, Cure the Sick, and Liberate Humanity from Politicians, has written a Facebook post describing the mistakes that he feels Elwartowski's team made. While their location was 12 nautical miles from Thailand, he notes, it is still in what is legally considered the country's contiguous zone, where a state apparently has many rights, several of which seem likely to pertain here. He adds that even being 200 miles from land does not necessarily create a magical realm of freedom where you can just plant a flag and be an independent polity. There are many rules and regulations that apply, including the need to plug in international law through the flagging system for a vessel or coastal state approval for a fixed structure. Friedman also writes that anyone trying that strategy needs to be aware that they would be outside all human systems of legal rights, with zero rights other than what you yourself can enforce with your diplomatic, economic, and military power against anyone like a nation-state who you bother in any way. Until seasteading is big enough to change the system, Friedman concludes, our beliefs about what international law should be, our imagined individual rights, our perception that the nation-state cartel is unjust, are all irrelevant to present strategy. We need to acknowledge the system in which we'll be working for the next 10 to 30 years, because only with a clear understanding of the present can we create our desired future. Ocean Builders says that their plans to sell and add more seasteads are, understandably, on hold for now. They say they spent about $150,000 on the project, and that they were responsible for the construction, and not Chada Wartowski and Nadia Summergirl. Ocean Builder says, we hope this issue can be resolved diplomatically with the Thai government and are ready to talk to anyone in charge at any time. We've tried several times to talk to anyone, but we're always told that we have nothing to worry about because we are legally in international waters. And isn't that just typical? Ocean Builders talked to the government in advance, who told them that they had absolutely nothing to worry about because they followed protocol and put the Seastead in international waters. But law be damned. The government came in anyway and took over the Seastead. Now, there are conflicting reports as to the status of the Seastead right now. It may have been sunk, as the Navy said they were going to do, but Ocean Builders claims the AIS beacon on the Seastead is still displaying a position 13 nautical miles from Thailand, which indicates the structure is still floating and is still in international waters. But whether the Thai government physically sunk the Seastead doesn't really matter at this point. They used the force of their government to virtually sink it anyway, by threatening to kidnap or kill its inhabitants. That is all government knows, is using force. That is what they do. That's what they are good at. That is the only way that they can validate their existence. As Barack Obama said, what essentially sets a nation-state apart is a monopoly on violence. Obama sure was right about that one. But it's pretty rare to see one of our rulers be so blatantly honest about what government is. And now Thailand is apparently ready to use that monopoly on violence on two people who'd never hurt a soul.
Have you subscribed to the Lava Flow on iTunes or any mobile device yet? Then what's wrong with you? Go to thelavaflow.com/subscribe so you don't miss a minute of the show. And while you're subscribing, make sure to leave me a 5-star rating and review the show to help others find our podcast. thelavaflow.com/subscribe.
What's in the news? The news you need to know from a libertarian perspective.
In Bad Boys news, a Pennsylvania police officer will not face charges for accidentally shooting a suspect in the stomach inside a police station last month, the district attorney announced Friday. Bucks County District Attorney Matthew Weintraub declined to press charges against a New Hope, Pennsylvania police officer who apparently meant to pull out his taser, but instead drew his gun and shot a suspect inside an interview room. The suspect, Brian Reiling, was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but survived. Weintraub said this was an honest mistake with an unfortunate consequence. The conduct was neither justified nor criminal, but excused because the officer honestly believed that he was using his taser when he shot Mr. Reiling in the stomach. Now, what do you suppose would happen if you intended to go for a less than lethal option, but then instead accidentally shot someone? Do you think this DA would press charges against you? Of course he would, since you don't have a shiny badge. Surveillance video from inside the police department shows Reiling drop something consistent with a drug baggie, according to police, on the ground while adjusting his belt and pants. He steps on the baggie and then gets into a scuffle with two officers when they try to remove his foot from on top of the object. One of the officers shouts, "Taser," and reaches to his right hip, but instead draws his service weapon and fires one shot into Reiling's midsection. Reiling collapses on the ground holding his stomach as the two officers immediately leave the cramped interrogation room. They don't do anything to try to help this guy. The district attorney notes the officer was wearing his stun gun in the wrong spot and not in accordance with department policy. But of course, he's not going to get in any trouble over that. The New Hope Police Department released a statement saying, "The department thanks District Attorney Weintraub and the members of his office for their thorough investigation and report. The police department has no further information to release and no further comment on this matter." In other words, thank you for circling the wagons and using the government to investigate the government and finding the government did nothing wrong. In more Bad Boys news, a Bob Jones University Police Department officer was arrested and taken to jail for the repeated rape of a mentally challenged woman over the course of 3 years. Deputies with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office arrested Officer Darren Thomas Wesley, 51, on Tuesday and charged him with multiple criminal sexual conduct charges. According to investigators, they received a tip that Wesley had been victimizing the mentally challenged woman, so they launched an investigation last month. According to that investigation, the reason the abuse was allowed to go on for so long is due to Wesley threatening the woman if she told on him. According to investigators, Wesley told the woman that if she resisted his rape or told anyone about it, then her family would be destroyed. Police say this caused serious psychological harm to the victim. Wesley, who has been a police officer at BJU for 18 years, was fired after the incident. BJU Chief of Staff Randy Page released a statement Tuesday saying Darren Wesley served as a staff member at Bob Jones University. Once his actions were reported to BJU, we dismissed Wesley for breach of the university's code of conduct. We have confirmed his actions were reported to the proper law enforcement agency. The disgraced officer is currently being held in the Greenville County Detention Center with bond set at $90,000. Incidents like this one are anything but isolated and serve to illustrate a major problem within American law enforcement. Police officer sexual misconduct is plaguing departments from coast to coast. According to a report from Washington Post, in cases involving allegations of sexual abuse, 72% of the officers were fired and more than 80% resulted in convictions, the study found. There were 422 reported cases of forcible and statutory rape, 352 cases of forcible fondling, and 94 sodomy cases over the 7 years of the study, which Denson called larger than expected based on the existing research. The data search turned up 174 examples of male officers arrested in cases of driving while female, in which women drivers were harassed or assaulted. About 82% of those cases ended in convictions. A separate study, as reported by the Associated Press in 2015, found similarly shocking numbers. The probe revealed that 550 officers were decertified for various sexual assaults, including rape. Some were dismissed for sodomy or sexual shakedowns, where victims were forced to perform sexual acts to avoid arrest. A further 440 officers lost their jobs for other sex-related offenses, such as possessing child pornography, being a peeping Tom, sending sexually charged messages to underage teens, or having sex while on duty. About 1/3 of the officers lost their jobs for committing sexual offenses with juveniles. This is clearly an epidemic. This is one of two things. Either the cop believes that the badge on his chest gives him carte blanche to break the rules that are there for the slaves, or the idea of being in control as a police officer draws people who love to yield power over other people. I personally believe it is a mixture of the two. As most of you know, I was laid off from my 9-to-5 director of IT job last summer. Among the many terrifying things about losing your job is losing your health benefits. Our family went about 6 months without any kind of health insurance, and the anxiety and worry that came along with that was not insignificant. But after spending dozens of hours researching our options and quickly rejecting the $2,000 a month price tag that came with the options available with traditional insurance, we found Health Excellence Plus, a health share that was a fraction of the cost, and we're glad we did. Only a few weeks after joining as members of this health share program, my wife was diagnosed with a common skin cancer that requires an expensive procedure to remove the cancer and another surgery to repair the damage done from the cancer removal. When this is all said and done, Health Excellence Plus will have saved our family thousands of dollars. and I'll bet they can save you money too. Health Excellence Plus is a health share that meets the requirements of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. A health share is a community of like-minded, health-focused members who have joined together to share each other's medical costs above an amount they can comfortably afford. A health share is not traditional health insurance. It is designed to be a catastrophic coverage for major items, like my wife's surgery. The cost of an average family insurance policy for a primary 45 years old with a $5,000 deductible is $1,450 per month. A Health Excellence Plus $500 initial insurable amount with a healthcare strategy is only $783. Get started saving money today at thelavaflow.com/health. That's thelavaflow.com/health. In Mercy News, terminally ill adults in New Jersey will now be able to ask for medical help to end their lives. Governor Phil Murphy has signed the Medical Aid in Dying for the Terminally Ill Act, and the law goes into effect on August 1st. It will allow adults with a prognosis of 6 months or less to live to get a prescription for life-ending medication. This makes New Jersey the 9th district to allow physician-assisted suicide. The others are California, Colorado, Oregon, Vermont, Washington, Hawaii, Montana, and the District of Columbia. The law requires either a psychiatrist or a psychologist to determine that the patient has the mental capacity to make that decision. The prescription is a series of self-administered pills that can be taken at home. Governor Murphy said, "Allowing residents with terminal illnesses to make end-of-life choices for themselves is the right thing to do. By signing this bill today, we are providing terminally ill patients and their families with the humanity, dignity, and respect that they so richly deserve at the most difficult times any of us will face." New Jersey legislators have tried passing versions of this bill since 2014, but this was the first time the bill went to a vote in the Senate. 19 other states are considering physician-assisted suicide bills as well. So let me get this straight. New Jersey doesn't trust you to pump your own fucking gas, but they trust you to end your life. Talk about government not having any fucking clue. I applaud this decision 100%, but New Jersey still has a long way to go. In debt spending news, this year Washington will spend a staggering $35,148 per household and collect $26,677 per household in taxes. The resulting budget deficit of $8,471 per household will bring the total national debt to $177,000 per household. Federal spending has soared nearly $7,000 per household since 2007 alone, and is projected to raise another $7,000 over the next decade. Unless spending is reined in, tax increases must eventually result. Where does all of this money go, though? Of the $35,138 per household, $13,178 of that goes directly to Social Security and Medicare. Another $6,483 goes to anti-poverty programs like welfare, food stamps, housing and child subsidies, and low-income tax credits. So nearly $20,000 of that $35,000 per household is essentially welfare, something that the marketplace could handle a lot more efficiently than government ever could. Defense gets about $5,312 of that money. This covers military paychecks, operations like what we've seen in Iraq and Afghanistan, research and development, and acquisition of new tech and equipment. Nearly 10% of that stolen money goes just to pay the interest on the national debt, with that coming in at $3,054 per household. The rest of the money is scattered around to things like veterans benefits at $1,556 per household, federal employee retirement benefits at $1,154, education at $876. Justice Administration for prisons and attorneys costs us $557 per household. The FDA, CDC, and National Institute for Health get $533, while the Highway and Mass Transit gets $493, and international affairs, such as foreign economic and military assistance, running our embassies, and contributions to the UN, gets $422 of your hard-earned dollars every year. The programs listed above cover $33,618 per household. The remaining $1,530 is allocated to all of the other federal programs, including natural resources and the environment, disaster aid, unemployment benefits, economic development, farm subsidies, social services, space exploration, air transportation, and energy. Are you pissed off yet? God damn it, I know that I am, especially after writing my big fat check to the IRS last week. Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians this summer from June 13th through June 18th for ForkFest 2019 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens right before the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means that no one is in charge. This also means that there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping or RV site or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 13th through the 18th. You can simply relax and go camping with other liberty lovers, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with other ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to both of those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. That's forkfest.party. This is the third year of this event, and I have attended all of them so far, so I hope to see you there this year. Get all of the information at forkfest.party. In Weld Watch news, Bill Weld has announced finally that he is running against Trump for the GOP nomination, saying America deserves better. This makes Weld the very first Republican to announce that he is challenging Trump in the 2020 primaries. Weld says, "It is time for patriotic men and women across our great nation to stand and plant a flag. It is time to return to the principles of Lincoln, equality, dignity, and opportunity for all. There is no greater cause on earth than to preserve what truly makes America great. I am ready to lead that fight." Lincoln? Seriously? This asshat is invoking Lincoln? Is this the same Lincoln who shit all over the Constitution and proved once and for all that it was unfit to exist? Is this the same Lincoln who said, "Our Republican system was meant for a homogeneous people. As long as blacks continue to live with the whites, they constitute a threat to the national life. Family life may also collapse, and the increase of mixed-breed bastards may someday challenge the supremacy of the white man." Fuck Weld in the neck with a stovepipe hat. My biggest concern is that he will want to return to the Libertarian Party after this bullshit. And of course, people in the party will jump on his bandwagon once again. In cryptocurrency news, Congress is seeking information from the IRS, saying that American taxpayers face an unacceptable ambiguity over cryptocurrencies. U.S. lawmakers asked the Internal Revenue Service how U.S. residents should pay taxes on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, in a remarkable letter that shows just how unregulated the cryptocurrency space remains. And praise Spooner that it truly is. More than a decade after Bitcoin was first introduced, the IRS has released just one public notice on how to pay taxes on digital holdings. That lack of guidance is leaving American taxpayers with unacceptable ambiguity on reporting requirements, the letter signed by 21 members of Congress said on Monday. The IRS, of course, did not respond to a request for comment. As it stands, cryptocurrency is treated as property by the U.S. government, meaning capital gains taxes apply to every transaction, whether it's buying a $1 million home or a $2 cup of coffee. But questions remain regarding how to determine the value of currencies at a given time, and how to account for events like initial coin offerings, in which companies raise money by selling virtual currencies to investors. Thousands of initial coin offerings have raised billions of dollars in recent years, making reporting increasingly complex. Alex Kugelman, a tax attorney based in San Francisco who counsels clients on paying cryptocurrency taxes, said, "From a tax reporting standpoint, it can be very complicated just tracking the gains and losses on each transaction, but it gets more complex year after year. There's virtually no guidance, and it's very frustrating trying to navigate." Questions remaining, according to the letter, include how taxpayers should calculate the fair market value of notoriously volatile cryptocurrencies, how to track exchanges, and how to account for forks in the blockchain, which are fundamental changes to the protocol on which Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies run. Kugelman said that some of these intricacies could mean differences of more than 6 figures for some of his clients when it comes to filing and paying taxes. Despite the confusion, the IRS had suggested that it is enacting more aggressive enforcement towards taxpayers who misreport or underpay taxes on digital currencies, according to an April 2019 report from Coin Center, a not-for-profit research center focusing on blockchain technology. In a March 2018 news release, the IRS threatened a prison term of up to 5 years and a fine of up to $250,000 for anyone convicted of tax evasion related to digital currency holdings. The letter from Congress may serve as a form of protection for digital currency traders being audited for tax reasons, noted Kugelman. He said, "This letter is kind of remarkable. If any of my clients are audited, I am going to present this letter to auditors. How can the IRS take enforcement action against taxpayers when there is such an obvious lack of guidance?" Look, my personal recommendations for paying taxes on cryptocurrencies is simply this. Don't. This is not legal advice, of course, and I'm no attorney. All I know is that as far as the IRS and the government knows, I hold no cryptocurrencies right now, and it's always going to be that way. Just a couple of stories ago, I laid out how the government wastes your money and robs Peter to pay Paul. So anything you can do to cut down the theft in your life is certainly a good thing.
Exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per episode donation of as little as $1 an episode, or use Bitcoin. Get exclusive content, rewards, and help the Lava Flow become fiscally neutral while providing you more content. thelavaflow.com/support.
Ask me anything. Roger will answer your questions about, well, anything. Do you have a question for Roger? Email AMA@thelavaflow.com or add your question to the latest AMA thread in the Pax Libertas Productions Facebook group.
It's that time again. I'm going to answer your burning questions. Remember, you can ask me your questions by adding it to the thread that I post in the Pax Libertas Productions Podcast Fans Facebook group or by emailing me at ama@thelavaflow.com. Or, if you just happen to be awesome as fuck and you support this show, you can ask me your question in the Lava Flow Super Supporters Facebook group or in Patreon. So, let's jump right into the questions. We're going to start with friend, supporter, host of Lions of Liberty, and really hot chick, Mark Clare. He has 2 quick questions. First, who is the most libertarian superhero? I think Captain America in Civil War and after is probably the most libertarian superhero. I mean, he's basically gone full-on anarchist, and I love it. Mark's next question is, who is the most libertarian supervillain? Well, fuck, that one's much tougher. I mean, I'm not sure there is one. To be a libertarian, one must believe in the non-aggression principle. Is it possible to do that and be a villain? I don't think so, but I just don't think I can answer this one. Thanks for the questions, Mark. Now go wash your hair. Supporter and good friend of the show, Drake L., asks several questions. I'll get to some of them this week and save some for the next time this segment appears. His first question is, how are you leveraging your finances for the future? Investments, gold, putting it into companies? So I've got several investment strategies, and most of them have nothing to do with the US dollar, primarily because it continues to lose value, and I do believe that it is possible that we will see a dollar collapse at some point. I tend to stick with precious metals, cryptocurrencies, and lately food. My wife and I just got a home freeze dryer last week, so we're going to start freeze drying our own food to save tons of money on food storage. Just today, as I write this, we started freeze drying 4 dozen eggs and another 2 dozen eggs with ham, bacon, onions, and cheese. It's pretty awesome having chickens giving us very cheap food that we can store now. We can also take advantage of super sales on food and buy it in bulk to store food even more cheaply by freeze drying it. Drake's next question is, would you be willing to pay more for an untaxed product? How much? Would you buy your groceries through a gray market at a 10% higher cost or just a lower quality just to avoid giving money to the state? Simple answer. Goddamn right I would. I mean, like I said earlier, we need to find ways to keep theft out of our lives as much as possible. Look, if someone is selling on the gray or black markets, they're accepting a certain level of risk. Risk increases prices, and those risk takers should be rewarded for that. I could see paying up to maybe 20% more depending on the item. There's little that I wouldn't do to keep my money away from the government. Here in New Hampshire, we have Liberty markets every couple of weeks, sometimes every week in the summer, and the prices at these is, of course, a bit higher than you would pay for an equivalent item in the store. But I believe that at least 90% of these items at these markets is being sold gray or black. Hell, even my kids are in on it, selling food, eggs, and such at these markets. And Jess and I are likely going to start selling freeze-dried candies there. It's amazing what a freeze dryer can do to Skittles and gummy worms and such. Do you think we have a business license for this shit? Of course not. Do you think the government knows anything about our activities? Nope. And we plan to keep it that way. Thanks for the questions, Drake. I'll get to more of your questions next week. Friend and longtime supporter Ryan P. asks, I'm going to be implementing AnyPay in our store within the next 4 to 6 weeks. Unfortunately, actually using crypto here in San Diego is nearly unheard of. On an average basis, what percentage of your monthly spend is in fiat currency versus crypto there in the live free or die state? That's kind of hard to answer. I'd have to say, for me anyway, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of at least 10% is crypto. A lot of that is through Purse.io, where I'm getting an average of about 22% off of everything that I purchase on Amazon through crypto. But like I mentioned, we do shop at the Liberty markets, and I do use crypto to pay for some services and items from friends from time to time. Got a couple of friends who live here who live 100% on cryptocurrencies. It's not easy, and a lot of that is converting crypto to dollars for things like rent, but it is possible. If you, my awesome listener, are interested in using cryptocurrencies to save a ton of money on everything that you buy from Amazon, you can go to thelavaflow.com/purse and set up an account. If you do it through this link, we'll both get a little extra crypto after you use Purse for more than $100 in transactions. Again, that's thelavaflow.com/purse. Good friend and supporter Daryl W. Perry asks several questions as well. I'll knock these out really fast since they're all pretty easy to answer. First, he asks, if a tree fell in the forest and the only sound was it landing on Bill Weld, would you mourn for that tree? Yeah, just as much as I mourn for anything that had to touch Bill Weld. His sleaziness just seems to ooze from him, so I would not want that on me for sure. Next question. With Willie Weld in the GOP primaries, who do you think will be the big name supported by the Shiny Thing Caucus in the LP? Hell, it could be anybody. I imagine that, as usual, it will be some GOP reject who likes to think that he's somewhat libertarian because he smoked pot once in college. And I can't think of any names off the top of my head right now, but I will certainly be on the lookout for them. Also, Daryl asked several questions like, recast the original Star Wars trilogy using the cast of Star Trek. Daryl, I really do appreciate those questions, but I'm just not really interested in answering questions like that. It would take too much time, and I don't have much of that right now. Sorry, man. That's it for this week. I do still have some supporter and non-supporter questions for the next time that I do this segment, but keep the questions coming in, guys. Thanks so much for participating in this fun segment with me. Thank you for listening to the show this week. As always, I need to thank my favorite freeze-drying mama, Jessica, for her help with the show. For the show notes to this episode, where I put links and other information that's been on this show, go to thelavaflow.com/128. I have no new supporters this week, but thanks to all of my awesome supporters, I'm at $258.75 per episode, or 51.75% of the way towards my next goal of $500 per episode. Thank you for all of your support, guys, really. Remember, when I hit this next goal, I'm going to be upping the content I bring you from half an hour per week to a full hour. I know that you want more content from me, and I want to give it to you. So add your pledge today to help me bring you twice the lava flow that you're getting today. So exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per episode donation of as little as $1 an episode, using Federal Reserve notes through Patreon, or monthly using Subscribestar, or using cryptocurrencies through Bitbacker. I want to be able to bring you more content soon, so make sure to add your donation today to help make that happen. I don't have any new Apple Podcast reviews this week either, but if you have a minute and you want to hear your review read right here on this show, please go to thelavaflow.com/Apple and leave me a rating and a review. All the cool kids are doing it. Thank you to everyone who's left me a rating and a review so far. You guys rock. To all of you who haven't, can you guys help me out and go leave a review for me? Go to thelavaflow.com/Apple to do that now. Until next time, keep striking the root.
Thank you for listening to The Lava Flow at thelavaflow.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now at thelavaflow.com/subscribe. This has been a Pax Libertas Productions podcast.